Well, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I'm really pleased that we've been able to work together on this bipartisan compromise, and I truly appreciate your working with me to get us to this very strong starting point. I want to especially thank you, in particular, your staff and my staff, whose names you put into the record, who spent innumerable hours working through the details on this. And I want to thank my members and their staffs for working with us to bring this forward today. This bill really is better as a result of a lot of hard work and commitment to everyone's priorities and communities. So I want to thank all the members of this committee for contributing to the strong bipartisan negotiations that have brought us to this very critical point. As Chairman Alexander mentioned, in early February of this year, we worked together to agree to rewrite this federal education bill because we both know how important it is to fix this very badly broken No Child Left Behind Act. I've heard from students and parents and teachers across my home state of Washington, and I'm sure every member of this committee has heard about it from their constituents. People across the country understand that No Child Left Behind is simply not working, and they're looking to us in Congress to sit down, work together, put politics aside, and get this done. So I'm glad the bipartisan agreement we'll be talking about today is a strong step in the right direction to finally fix this broken law. It's not the last step, far from it. We have a long way to go before this bill moves through our committee, gets debated and passed on the Senate floor, goes to conference with the House bill, and hopefully gets signed into law. And I know there are a lot of ways many of us are hoping to continue improving the bill as it continues through this process. But I'm very proud that we could reach across the aisle and find common ground and work on behalf of teachers and schools and parents who are looking to us to make sure all students have the opportunity to get a quality education. And I'm very glad that Chairman Alexander and I were able to come into this markup with a strong bipartisan starting place that moves us in the right direction instead of fighting over dueling partisan approaches. So, Mr. Chairman, I really want to thank you for that. I believe that working through this process in a bipartisan way from the start is the best chance that we have to actually fix this broken law. The bipartisan compromise we've taken into this committee is the first step again in a long process, but it gives states and districts more flexibility while maintaining federal guardrails. And it helps make sure that all students get the opportunity to learn no matter where they live or how they learn or how much money their parents make. I've been proud to be a voice for Washington State students and priorities as we negotiated this agreement. And if passed into law, this bill will help restore some much-needed certainty to schools and districts in my home state of Washington and across the country. I'm glad that over the next couple of days we'll be able to work through this markup process to continue improving this bill, and I know that many members, including me, have ideas about how to improve and strengthen this bill as we move forward. So I look forward to working with members from both sides of the aisle at every phase to keep improving this bill. From the beginning of this process, I had a few basic principles to guide my work to fix No Child Left Behind. First of all, I've always said we need to make sure schools and states are accountable for delivering on the promise of a quality education for all kids. Under this agreement, states would create accountability systems, but they would have to meet minimum federal protections. Those protections will ensure that states are accountable to all students, that states set challenging academic standards, and that they disaggregate achievement data so subgroups of students like those from low-income backgrounds don't fall through the cracks. These are all very positive steps, but I think we should continue to work to strengthen the accountability system under this bill. For instance, I believe there should be a stronger assurance from the federal level that struggling schools will get the interventions, supports, and resources they need to serve all their students. From my perspective, leaving these important decisions totally up to states doesn't provide parents with enough of a guarantee that their children are getting the support that they deserve. Another guiding principle of mine is to make sure schools get the resources they need. This bipartisan agreement makes sure federal resources supplement state and local education funding and ensures that federal resources target the schools and districts that need them the most, often in areas with high concentrations of poverty. Education is one of the best investments our country can make, so I'm going to continue to fight to make sure that teachers and schools and districts get the resources they need. I've also been very focused on expanding access to early childhood education so more kids start kindergarten ready to learn. As a former preschool teacher, I have seen firsthand the kind of transformation that early learning can inspire in a child, and I'm glad that our deal clarifies that funding for various programs can be used for early education. But as the chairman has said, I don't think this mark goes far enough, and I was very delighted to work with Senator Isaacson to offer a bipartisan amendment that we will do here today to provide grants to states to build on the programs that already exist. Our amendment will allow states to better coordinate their early learning programs, increase the quality of those programs, and ensure that more kids have access to them. I'm hopeful that it will pass with strong bipartisan support. Finally, in our country, we believe that all students should have access to a quality public education, regardless of where they live or how they learn or how much money their parents make. That vision is a big part of what we mean when we talk about America. It is what makes our country great. Other countries around the world are focused on education today. They're working every day to get it right for their students. China, India, and others think they can beat us in the classroom. We know better. We know we can win this, and we know we have to. So we can't afford to turn back the clock on the promise of quality education for all. We cannot be the generation that drops the ball on this noble goal. So I look forward to working with Democrats and Republicans to build on this bipartisan agreement with more ideas and improvements as we move it through the committee, the Senate, conference, and to the President to sign into law. This isn't about politics. It is not about partisanship. It is about our students and making sure our country has the policies and the tools and the resources in place to help them all succeed. Students and parents across the country are looking to us now to put politics aside and break through this gridlock and fix this broken law. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you here as we move this one step closer to getting that done. And again, Mr. Chairman, I really want to thank you and your staff for working with us so hard over the last several months to get us to today.